Good morning, happy Sunday. I haven't made a video for a bit. I've been traveling. I'm in a hotel room now. I am in Kansas. I have come back home for the first time in about 20 years. And a lot of people, well, why would you want to do that? I will tell you. And yes, you can go back home for a visit. I'm not saying I would move here, but you can go back home. This has been amazing. I mean, off the chart, amazing for me. Let me give you a little history. I have an older brother by the name of Don. Good guy. And in 1967, now we're going way back in time, I was probably 8 years old, 8 years old. My brother got his very first job working at a grocery store, at which point he met what came to be one of his dearest friends, Mr. Mike Collins. They were same age. They worked together. And that was the very beginning of when the Mingy family and the Collins family met. Now, Mike, would come around the house. You know how it is if you have teenage kids. And so we got to know Mike. And my brother always played baseball. And I think some of the gang probably showed up at some of his baseball games, but I didn't know them. There weren't really introductions. I was the little kid sister 9 years younger, so I was kind of just there. We moved. My dad got a very substantial promotion at Boeing and became head of R&D. And we moved to the burbs, to the suburbs, to the big, beautiful house that everybody remembers. And the day we were moving, my brother and my dad, of course, were, at the house loading the truck and getting, the house in Wichita. And my mom and I drove on out to the new house to get ready for when the guys got there with the truck. And of course we had, the usual small stuff in the car that we were messing around with. Okay. I said, Mom, somebody's here. She said, nobody's here. We had a private drive out in the country, and we shared a drive with one neighbor, but it was a private drive. And so Mom goes out, all the way out, huge house, goes all the way out to the other end of the house, to the family room. And there were 2 or 3 carloads of girls that pulled up. And my mom said, can I help you? And they said, are you Don's mom? She said, yes. We're here to help you move. And they started unpacking the car, and they brought sodas, a barbecue, charcoal, cookies, chips, you name it. They brought it. They were there. And it blew me away. Now, we're talking 1970. So think back to the show. And I know when they see this, they're going to start laughing. I gave them a heads up at dinner last night. So think back to the show, That Girl, with Marlo Thomas, who played, I think her role was Anne Marie. They were that age, and they were, each and every one of those girls was that beautiful. I mean, seriously, model, beautiful inside and out, sweet, kind, amazing. And I was just, it blew me away. And then, they're in the house with Mom and they're helping. What can we do? That's everybody's attitude. How can I help? It was wow. And then a few hours or so later, the truck pulls up and some other cars, and it's my dad and my brother, of course, and all the guys. So the girls that came into the house that day, now, of course, the girl my brother was dating at the time, I think he was dating Beverly at the time. So she was there. We had Mike's sister, Nance Collins. We had Connie Butler, Nancy Kane, Debbie Harrington. Let me see, Delana, I cannot remember. You've been Delana Browning for so long, I can't remember your maiden name. So we had Nancy and Connie and Delana and Debbie and Beverly. I think if I left anybody out, I'm really sorry, but that's who came in, and I was just blown away. So then the guys show up. We have, of course, my dad and my brother. And we had Mike Collins, Gary Hess, Rod Browning. I can't remember for sure if Dennis Summers was helping on the move or not. He may have already left. He was going to be a dentist. He is a dentist. He's a very prominent dentist in, I want to say, North Dakota. I think that's right. But part of the gang was Dennis Summers and Mike Wallace. And here are all these people. And I mean, I knew Mike and I knew my brother and I knew my dad. And there's all these guys. And they're very handsome men. I mean, whoa. But they're nice and they're kind and they're sweet and they're polite. It was unreal. And they helped us move into the house. And after the end of the day, we had this huge barbecue. The barbecue became a tradition. If those kids weren't out at the lake on a weekend, they would go to the lake one day over the weekend. The other day was probably going to be at our house having a party, having a barbecue, as I remember it. Now, this is the recollections of a child. And it was amazing. Now, by this time, by the time of the move, I was probably 12 or 13. And it was just, holy cats, it was a big deal. And so when the barbecue started, the introduction of the parents began. So we, Mike and Nance Collins had Mom and Pop Collins. My parents were Mom and Pop Mingy. The parents were always Mom and Pop. They became like second parents. Everybody's parents were my parents. I had a lot of parents for those few years. They were wonderful, wonderful, amazing people. The only parent alive today is Pop Browning, and he was there last night. And that was really cool. He's 96, God bless him. That's kind of cool. These people were amazing. In my family, I'm the youngest, and Mom was busy doing, mom stuff, and she was helping with. She had elderly parents that she was dealing with, and my dad, of course, was working full time. My brother was playing ball, and he was in college. And so when the girls would come out to the house, this is what is important to me. The girls would come out to the house, and they would take time to talk to me, more than just house, school, cute dress. And I had forgotten about this until Nance brought it up at dinner. Nance and I went to dinner the night I came in. She picked me up at the airport. She said, "Do you remember what we bonded over?" To my recollection, it was just that she was way awesome, cool, and gorgeous. She said, "Nail polish." I remember she had beautiful long nails. I was growing my nails out, and I always kept my nails polished and very perfect. And she said, "We bonded over nail polish." And then I remembered, if there was a neat, cool color, she would let me know. She might even bring me a bottle. She made sure I knew about this. And as a young girl of 13, that was a big deal. That was huge. Just phenomenally big. Now, back then, we didn't have strange colors. It would be different shades of pink or red or something like that. I remember one year for Christmas, I got my first curling iron. And it might have been, I was 13, 14 years old. Now, what is today considered beachy curls used to be called stringy hair. And that was my hair. I had very thin, my hair is very, very curly. I straighten it. And I remember everybody came out after the holidays, and we had the fireplace going and the booze flowing and the usual stuff. And I remember Connie and Delana asked me, "What'd you get for Christmas?" And I told them, I said, "I got a curling iron. Do you know how to use it?" No, because I didn't. Back in the early 70s, it was kind of a new thing. "Okay, we're going to help you." And they took me in my bedroom and taught me how to use a curling iron. They took an hour away from a party with everybody to show me how to use a curling iron. I did not ask them. I didn't say, "Hey, would you come show me?" Because you didn't do that. They offered. That meant so much to me. And watching, because I was, kind of on the periphery. I wasn't able to have a daiquiri with everybody, but everybody socialized together at our home. And watching the interactions, I learned this is how you behave. If you follow my trauma practice, You know my theory from 0 to 10 or 12. Those are your foundations. That's when you learn how to handle stress and cope and all of that. It's also when you learn social interactions, how to behave around different settings. I learned from these people, from these guys and girls, how to behave at a party, how to carry myself with poise and grace most of the time, how a girl should treat a guy, how a guy should treat a girl, in this group of people, they interdated, and some ended up marrying, some ended up divorcing, but some are even still married. But it showed me, this is how I want a guy to treat me. I want a guy to treat me like Mike Collins treated Terry, the girl he married, or how Rod treats Delana. They're still married. God bless them. And that's what you want. You want that level of respect, and how they look at each other, and you can just say that, oh my gosh, they were crazy about each other. That's what you want. That's what I saw. Those were my goals in life. To be poised like these beautiful women, to have guys in my life that had integrity, that had culture and manners, and genuinely knew how to be a gentleman. That's what they brought to the table, and that's what I learned. And signed a few books last night, and I told, it was Connie and Delana, that everything that I am today, and I'm not saying I'm anything great, but everything that I am today, there's a certain part of them in me. In every book I write, in my trauma practice, they're all part of this because they're the foundation. They have helped make me who I am today. They may not see that. Anybody that is a close friend of mine will know that I talk about them frequently. They mean the world to me. There's a lot to be said for family, for your biological family. I'm not saying anything against biological family, but there's a lot to be said for extended family. These were my brother's friends. As a young girl, they accepted me as part of the crowd. That was huge. As an adult, a couple of years ago, Nance and Connie came upon this brilliant idea of they were going to start having these reunions. And I want to say it was after Bob died. That was Nance's husband, and he too was one of my clients. Bob was a great guy, and believe me, Bob would have loved last night. It was just a beautiful evening. And when they started sending out, they made a closed group on Facebook, of course, and they started sending out invitations because it's a closed group. They sent one to me. It's not like I could say, hey, I want to be part of this. I didn't know it existed. And they invited me, which that was a big deal. Even as a grown-up today, it's still a big deal to be included in this. So the party last night, it was getting to be with my role models, my mentors, the people who made me who I am. And when I look at them today, and yes, we are all substantially older, but I still see them. I get teary. As they were in 1970. They're still young and beautiful because they're young and beautiful in here. That hasn't changed. I cannot wait to see them again. I leave tomorrow. I will be taking a tour of the city today. Nance has taken upon herself to show me all the old haunts, those that are still in existence. And that should be interesting. It should definitely be interesting. But that's where I have been in Kansas. Yes, my son and my granddaughter are here. I did get to spend some time with them. That is very personal. That is very private. I keep my private life locked away in here. But I did get to spend some time with them, and my granddaughter is gorgeous and brilliant. and off to a week of sleepover camp and then volleyball camps the rest of the summer. And my son is just the amazing young man that he's always like. Jeff, I'm going to say you're a young man, even though you're not exactly, you're approaching a middle-aged young man. He's 44. So it's been a wonderful trip. I don't want to wait 20 years to come back. It's been amazing. It has ruined my hair. I have now remembered why I left Kansas, the humidity. Oh my gosh, it looks like I licked a light socket, just whoosh. It'll be nice to be home, back home in Arizona. But it's been nice coming home to Kansas. The land of, it's home.